Okay, what is going on, everybody? I know it's been a while since I've posted a video. This is actually the third time that I'm recording this video. First time, I just forgot to hit record, and I talked for 3 minutes just to myself. And then the second time, it just went on way too long. So, third time's a charm. Let's do it. This is gonna be another ramble video. I just need to get content out there. Like I said, it's been a while since I posted. And that's just because of school. I don't want to get into it a lot, but yeah, just because of school. And it's been not hard, but the workload was way more than I expected this early. So yeah, just been focused on that. All right, here we go. Talking about basketball. Let's do it. First thing, All-Star game. I didn't think there were any snubs. I really didn't until this afternoon. I didn't think there were any snubs. Everyone, East was really hard. I mean, I guess Trae Young would be a snub, but I don't think that. Well, okay, Trae Young, Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler. Those are probably the three who I was most surprised didn't make it. But I also wanted to see guys like Julius Randle, Vucevic, Levine. I wanted to see those guys in the All-Star game because all the guys have made it before and they're gonna make it again. But you know, I thought that it was good choices for sure. But this afternoon, Mike Conley was gonna go to the All-Star game. He's gonna be an injury replacement for Devin Booker. I like Mike Conley, and I like that he's able to be called an All-Star because he's had a low-key Hall of Fame career, I would say. I think that I don't know if he's going to be able to get in because he hasn't had much playoff success. He's won a lot of playoff series, but farthest he's gone in Western Conference Finals was one time. They got swept. Hasn't been in the finals. Obviously hasn't won the championship, and then even as like it's a basketball Hall of Fame, so obviously your overseas achievements will come into play. Their Olympic achievements are going to come into play. He never won a gold medal. I don't think he ever played for a team. Might have played for a FIBA team, but I don't think he has. So him being able to be called an All-Star is big for him, and he has he's been an All-Star in the past, but he never got chosen for it. So I think that it's good that he was able to be called an All-Star once in his career, but I think that DeMar DeRozan deserved this selection way, way more. I thought that guys like SGA, John Morant, De'Aaron Fox, Jamal Murray, even those guys had better cases than Mike Conley because Mike Conley's counting stats are pretty bad. SGA right now, if you haven't been paying attention to the Thunder, he's gone off, and the Thunder are still somewhat competitive. I don't know what their seeding is right now, but I think they're probably 13th or 12th or something. But you gotta tell, that's higher than I thought I had them going into the season. And it's because of SGA. He's been averaging 23, 5, and 6 on 50, 40, 80 splits, which is much, much better than Mike Conley. Mike Conley has been really good for the Jazz, and he's a big reason why they're so good. I just don't think he's been an All-Star this year. And Utah fan base had a big push to get him into the All-Star game. I'm happy that he's in the All-Star game because he deserves it. Over the course of his career, a lifetime achievement, All-Star nod. But if you're gonna give that to someone, I would have preferred it to be DeMar DeRozan. I think that he's been way better. He's got the Spurs higher than we expected them to be. They're competitive. They've been competing with the Nuggets, Blazers, Warriors in that bottom half of the conference playoffs. So I thought that DeRozan deserved it more. But I am happy for Conley that he's able to get an All-Star berth. All right, next thing, Nuggets. This might be my longest segment, but it is. I'm going to shorten it down a little bit. So I'm excited for the second half of the season. I think that once all of the injuries get solved, we'll be much better than we have been before. I think we got into a rhythm going into the break. 1-4 straight after a pretty rough stretch. Going into the break, 6 games over 500. But if we didn't play the Kings and the Wizards, or if we had just won those games, all 5 of those games were winnable, we would be 26-10 right now. That's pretty good. I think that would be 4th or 3rd in the West right now. But I'm happy with where we are. I think this roster is constructed very good when healthy. When not healthy, you got to get guys like Zeke Naji, RJ Hampton in, which, I mean, that RJ Hampton was taken as a project. I don't think he was expected to play this season. He's been good this season. Don't get me wrong. When he's played, he's been good. He's been better than I expected. His defense is rebounding. His athleticism is crazy. He's had a couple posters. And then Zeke Naji was also better than I expected, but I think they took him as like an ideal 4 to play next to Jokic. But getting Millsap, Green, Harris, Dozier, getting them all back and healthy, I think is going to be huge for this team because when they're all healthy, when this team is fully healthy, the Nuggets, they had a stretch. They played Suns twice, Heat, Mavericks, Thunder, Spurs, and Jazz, and they went like 5-1 against those teams. So they had a really, really good stretch. When they were fully healthy, and those were the only like 6 games where we were fully healthy, because in one of those games Dozier got hurt, the next Gary Harris got hurt, then JaMychal Green gets hurt, Paul Millsap gets hurt, and then you're stuck back where you were before. But I think that I do think that this is a good stretch for the Nuggets coming out of the All-Star break, because it gets pretty easy. They have a very easy strength of schedule. But yeah, Jamal Murray is a guy who I want to highlight right now because I'm going to talk about Jokic later. He has taken a step this season that I don't think a lot of people realize. Because I think when you look at a lot of NBA fans, a lot of the narratives that come out of the NBA season happen very early. For casual NBA fans, they're going to look at it and they're going to be like, oh, I thought the Kings were good this season. No, they started good, but they've been kind of ass now. But you look at how Jamal Murray started the season. He started off so terribly, and I still see so many people being like, oh, what happened to Jamal Murray? I thought he was supposed to be good this season. He has been good this season. He's been so good since he got healthy. I think he still had the wear and tear of the bubble on him. Him and Jokic played by far the most minutes, and his game relies on his athleticism, and he has looked so much more bouncy and so much more explosive lately, and it's paid off. He averaged 27 a game in the month of February on really, really good efficiency, like 50-50-90 splits. So I think that he has finally taken that step that we all expected him to take earlier in the season. It's a shame that he couldn't do it when everyone was healthy, but I do think that it is good. It's great that he took the step at least some point in this season, because if he had still stayed struggling and with his consistency, the Nuggets were going nowhere in the playoffs. But I think with him being this good, Jokic being this good, Michael Porter Jr. getting in a rhythm with those two, because he really hasn't done that so far in his career yet until I'd say the last 3 or 4 weeks. That makes them so much more lethal, and I think they're going to be a dangerous team in the playoffs. Because they're going to be a lower-ish seed than what people expected. I thought they were going to be top 3. I don't think that's possible now, obviously because of the injuries. But coming into the playoffs, you look at how they are right now. When they're fully healthy, they're going to be damn good. And I'm very excited about that. So, number 3 on the list, surprising, disappointing teams. I guess I'll just talk about the rest of the NBA now. Surprising, Jazz. Jazz have been much better than I anticipated for this season. They have surpassed all of my expectations. To look at guys like Jordan Clarkson, Mitchell, Gobert, Bogdanovich, Conley, Royce O'Neal has been really good. Joe Ingles, Jordan Yang, bring back Derek Favors has done wonders for him. Like, they have been a really, really, really good team on both ends. And if they end up with the 1 seed, that's one of the better redemption stories, because they blew that 3-1 lead to Denver. So I am very, very surprised by them. I thought coming into the season, the top 4 teams in the league, or in the West, were Denver, Utah, LA, and the LA teams, Lakers and Clippers. Not in that order, but I thought those were the top 4. But I didn't think that Utah would be the 1 seed. You tell people that Utah and Phoenix is my second most surprising. But you talk to someone beginning of the season. You say, who's the top 2 seeds in the West at the All-Star break? They're going to say LA and LA. That's who they're going to say. LA and LA, maybe some guy says Denver. That's the top 2. No way do they say Utah and Phoenix. So I am very surprised by those 2. I'm happily surprised by those 2. I think that having 2 teams that good in the West is going to be helpful. Going to have a lot of parity. It's good. Disappointing, Hawks, by far. If you guys remember my first video I made, I said that Hawks are going to be a top 4 seed in the East. and that's completely out of the question. Playoffs aren't out of the question. I like that Nate McMillan was chosen as the interim head coach because I think he's a better head coach than Lloyd Pierce anyway. But they have been so bad this season. Defensively, they don't know what they're doing. Offensively, the bench doesn't know what they're doing. Trae Young has to carry that entire offense on his back. And it's just not at all what you saw from this team coming into this season. There are some bright spots. Clint Capella has been Clint Capella. I mean, he was this good in Houston, but I don't think he got the recognition he deserved because of James Harden and Chris Paul being there. But he was always good defensively. He was always a phenomenal lob threat. He was always a great rebounder. None of that changed, but he has been so good for them this season. And he's a perfect big to pair with Trae Young. Great guy to have alongside John Collins because defensively John Collins is a little bit limited as a big man. Because of his size, not like his athletic ability, but it's because of his size. But yeah, they've just been super disappointing. I hope that they can make the playoffs because they're an exciting team, they're a young team, they're a fun team. But I also would like to see teams like the Bulls or the Hornets make it above them. But yeah, they're by far and away my most disappointing. Last on the list, unless I think of something else last minute. Awards. At the halfway point. I'm going to talk about Jokic here because I think he's the MVP so far. I think Embiid is going to win it, but it is those two. And if you think it's anyone other than those two, you're wrong. Sorry, you're just wrong. Embiid and Jokic have been far and away best two players in the league by counting stats, by advanced stats, eye tests, everything has been Embiid Jokic. So I think it's Jokic. I do have bias. I am a Nuggets fan. I think he's more important to the Nuggets than Embiid is to the Sixers. Maybe not this year, excuse me. But I think, in general, I think he is more important to the Nuggets than anybody is to any team. I think he is MVP. But Embiid obviously has... he's in the East, so he's going to have the Eastern Conference. But he's also the top. The Sixers are at the top of the East. But I think if both Sixers and Nuggets end up close to each other in the standings, meaning if the Nuggets get the 4 seed and the Sixers fall to the 2 or the 3, then I think it's going to be much closer, and I think Jokic has a better shot. But if the Sixers stay the 1 seed, Embiid's going to win. I think winning is always prioritized unless someone does something historic, like how Westbrook when he averaged a triple-double. And OKC was like the 6th seed, and he still won over Kawhi and Harden. But I think that I think it's those two, and it's not close. So yeah, Rookie of the Year. Once again, it's a 2-man race between LaMelo and Tyrese Halliburton, but LaMelo I think has been pulling away lately, and it's because Halliburton's been hurt. But I think it's between those two, and like with Embiid and Jokic, it's really not close. They have been by far and away the best 2 rookies. LaMelo Ball is special. His playmaking is just way, way, way better than what I thought. I this was the same thing with Trae Young. When Trae Young came into the league, his first season, the first half of his rookie year, he was dreadfully inefficient. You could see he had spurts of it here and there, but he was terribly inefficient. However, his playmaking was still there. He kept his average of assists the entire season. He averaged 8 assists the whole year. And you could see that his playmaking, him playing with obviously better players, better spacing than what he played in college, helped a lot because his playmaking translated very, very well to the NBA. The same thing is happening with LaMelo Ball. His playmaking was always very good, but the counting stats weren't there. Now that he's playing with better teams, better spacing, better coaching, his assist numbers are showing up, and it does help that he's kind of being shoved in our faces by ESPN a little bit. But I think that he's the favorite for Rookie of the Year. But it's not just because he's being shoved in our face. He is legit that good. I think he's going to be really, really good in the coming years. Halliburton, number 2, just because in the month of February, I think he was comparable with LaMelo. You can make an argument he was better in February, but he's gotten hurt recently. So LaMelo's kind of taken over. But Halliburton, kind of the same thing as LaMelo. He's got great size. He's got a really good jumper. It looks a little awkward, but it is good. And he is good. His playmaking, his defense, his energy, his shooting, his creating, his passing, everything is top notch for a rookie. Coach of the year, I think Quinn Snyder's going to win it, but my next two also do have very good chances to win it as well. Monty Williams, Steve Nash. Steve Nash is there because managing that many egos in the locker room is huge, and I think that he did a really good job doing that. Especially Harden, KD, and Kyrie, 3 ball dominant guys, 3 number ones, and he's been able to manage them very, very well. So props to him. Obviously, Monty Williams with the Suns, having him in a position we didn't think of. Obviously, Chris Paul's a big part of that, but Monty Williams is the coach of that team. He deserves a lot of credit. And then Quinn Snyder, I talked about the Jazz already. Yeah, that's why. Defensive Player of the Year, Simmons, Gobert, Turner. Those are my 3. Miles Turner was my pick earlier in the year, but Ben Simmons has really picked it up lately, and Miles Turner hasn't picked it up lately. He's been not bad. He's just kind of dipped to, I don't know. He's still a great defender. I don't know how to say it, but he was far and away the best defender early in the year. He's still very, very good blocking shots, but he hasn't. I think Simmons is just much better. I think Gobert's 3rd. I don't think they're going to give it to him again. But Simmons has been absolute lockdown on the perimeter for anybody he faces. So I think he's going to win it. Yeah. 6 man. This is a 1-man race. There's nobody who comes close. It's Jordan Clarkson. And I don't think I have to explain myself. He's been incredible. You could argue that he's been the 3rd best player on the Jazz. And he's just having a great year. So yeah, he's 6 man. Nobody else comes close. And then last, most improved. This one, I want to talk about it a little bit more, but I might do another video on it. But I think it's between Jaylen Brown and Christian Wood, because Jaylen Brown and Jeremy Grant. I think I predicted Christian Wood would win it in my first video. I think he would have had a great chance to actually win it if he hadn't gotten hurt, but he's been hurt for 3 weeks now. I think he'll come back after the All-Star break. It's very unfortunate for him, but I think he would have won it if he stayed healthy. But I think Jeremy Grant and Jaylen Brown are the two favorites. I think I want Jeremy Grant to win it because obviously he's a former Nugget, but also because of why he left. And if you don't know, I guess I'll sum it up very quickly. He left because he wanted to play for a black GM in a black city, and he was one of the most vocal guys in the bubble on the social justice stuff, which was, I gained a lot of respect for him during that period. So I very much love him as a person, love him as a player. And I think that his leap was something that I don't think anyone expected. I didn't even expect. I thought he would suck as a number 1, but he has been really, really good as a number 1. So props to him. But I also think that Jaylen Brown, he's also another guy who's very vocal on social change as well. I love him as a person, love him as a player too. But I would like to see Grant win it because his leap was way more unexpected than Jaylen Brown's. So, yeah, that's it. I guess I kind of rushed the awards part a little bit. But yeah, we'll upload another video next week, or at least I'll try to upload another video next week. So yeah, that's it. Peace.